Welcome back to The 100 Girlfriends, Anime Review, episode number 9. We're here for episodes 10 and 11 for The 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You. Yeah, basically 10 11. Yep, because we had a double feature because the episode, one of these, I think the 10 was supposed to come out the previous week, but it didn't. So they decided to do this as a double feature. They did it for Jujutsu Kaisen too, where they gave that a double feature. And in those last two episodes, they pretty much just released the last two episodes already. And because of that, basically, I finished the season sooner than I thought I would. So this means, yes, by next weekend, this season will be over. And I do mean 100% over. Now, name of these episodes are Love Impossible and Even If It Kills Me. Now, these two episodes pretty much cover chapters 16 to 19 and most of chapter 20. Episode 10 starts off with Rintaro and 4 to 5 girls, where they just, climb over the fence, and they try to get Hakuno's attention, but it's like Scariest Tights to throw a ball. Ball gets caught by a cat, and then they decide, let's just go through the door. Which they proceed to, they have it where now she proceeds to pick up some rocks and just flick them into a cat door and just automatically unlock the door. Yep, and she hits her hand, gets treated, so they need a way to look at all the security, so I have to look at her name here. Kasari proceeds to put eye drops in Rintaro's eyes to allow him to see some security stuff. Yes. So they get over that, which is things open. It seems like a little area because the same chandelier. They basically sneak past the dog, which they had knocked conscious thanks to a drug that she made. So they tie him up to Kanade. Yep, and they're like walking, like basically you have his feet in one direction, her feet in another direction, and the way they have it where his face is against her belly, and she is basically looking at his groin the whole time. Crawl across the ceiling, just brush across the chandelier, and they get across, and they get the Hakuno's room, and apparently opens, it's an alarm going off, and he can't see, all he can do is hear. And then Hakuno's mom shows up. Yes, and if you're curious, Hakuno's mom is Harune, and I've heard that the name of Harune is translated to mother. Yes, seriously. Yeah, and this is where she meets Rintaro for the first time. Yep, meets Rintaro, where it's like, you're because she doesn't like the fact that Rintaro is like 5-timing her daughter. So to prove the fact because he says he loves her, like prove it. So she basically has a lie detector chair pop up out of nowhere. So Karane basically tests it out first, prove the fact it does work, and of course Karane basically keeps lying about her breast size because of course that Hakari and her mom are both perverted. I am not kidding about that. Because, like mother, like daughter, they're both perverts. Or at least perverted anyways. And then Rintaro basically agrees to it. And, actually, this is just after listening to the sob story. That the story that she told of how Hakari came about. Where she got pregnant when she was 13. Because she fell in love with a guy around her age in middle school. So, in order to prove the fact the guy existed, she agreed. She basically bribed some doctors to do a artificial insemination to have this girl. Now, in case you're curious, is this a real thing? From what I've heard, yes, it is. It is complete legit thing to do. And Was this mentioned in the manga? Yes. And it does exist in real life. People probably do this because for some people it's a bit difficult to have children, from what I've heard. This is stuff I've heard. So they do stuff like this in order to have children. I'm not going to answer any questions about that and anything else about that. So moving on. So, and we see somehow when Hakura's mom and Rintaro, when they look at each other, it's like spark, instantly fall in love. Yes, a 29-year-old woman who happens to be the mother of one of his girlfriends falls in love with him. Yes, so... And then, of course, basically, Karane proceeds to hold her hostage, like, she's a Asane, so... And because Hakura decides to try to jump out a window, a 2-story window that could easily kill her. So Rintaro calms her down, and then she slips. Rintaro's like, I'm not going to let you go. So then he proceeds to kick off the side of the house and land in a fountain, so the other 3 girls proceed to rescue them. Karane, worried about her, proceeds to slap her across the face because basically it's something she should not have done. So her mom basically confesses her feelings for Rintaro, and she kind of becomes his girlfriend. Yes. A woman who is 13 years older than he is, and a parent. So yes, he is dating his girlfriend's mom. Yes. By the way, this is one of the 2 times this happens over the course of a series, where we have Rintaro date a much older woman. Well, actually, one of 3 times this happens, because a bit of a minor spoiler. One of his girlfriends is one of his teachers. Yes, seriously. Yes, and he also, and by the way, relatives of people who he knows, 3 of his girlfriends are related, like, to somebody. Like, one's related to him, and the other 2 are related to 2 of his girlfriends. Yes, they do this in this series, and in the case of episode number 11, it's the sort of cameo appearance of Mondo May, though we get sort of full appearance in the next episode. I'm not going to spoil stuff with her because basically, well, they'll probably reveal that next episode. But then, right after this, all of the girls proceed to go into the gigantic bathroom to basically bathe, because they all fell in the water. So, and of course, they all commented on our breast sizes, because they go their mature size, and it's just this. By the way, this is standard Japanese women. Women love talking about their breast sizes. Now, this is not something that is talking about U.S., because this is something that guys don't really care about. I mean, people do like. Some guys do probably like big chest, but it's not like basically they're asking these women what their chest size is, or excuse me, what their cup size is. And from what I've read, Harane, the writer mentioned that her cup size is I cup. Yes, that could explain why her breast is so big. Moving on. So, then of course, basically, like, Karane just chills out, gets dressed, and of course, Rintaro is embarrassed back. He saw her sees her belly, and she's like, oh, she wants to get payback for him rubbing his cheek against her belly, so she proceeds to rub her cheek against his belly, like, ooh, his rock hard abs. And then her comes to decide to do some push-ups. And all the rest of the girls comment, and then, of course, basically, like, then they have, ooh, let's do a slumber party. Let's have all the girls dress up in these very skimpy nightgowns. At least pajamas. Yes, seriously. And Rintaro does the most gentlemanly thing possible. Turns around, faces the wall, whatever else gets changed. Very much gentlemanly for him to do. And, of course, the 2 small ones have these, like, one's a bunny, the other one's, of course, a cat. I'm like, ooh, nice. Yeah, see these girls basically wearing these pajamas. But moving on. So then, of course, basically, like, she's like, "Oh, I need," and of course, Harlan has, "I need some water," and then of course, basically, that he kind of talks to her, and kind of accepts the fact that he'll go out with her, and then she also when he accepts her being his girlfriend, she proceeds to have him, like, she just grabs his head and buries his face, has his face bury her chest. By the way, this is very common for women in anime to do. Take a guy and bury their face in their chest. Usually big breasted women basically known for doing this. And you're thinking, like, is that from a hentai? No, this actually happens in regular anime. A lot. Because, here's the thing, sometimes guys actually like this. Believe it or not. Yes, seriously. Or they basically use they'll have women's thighs, basically have the thighs be a lap pillow. Don't get that here per se, but yep. And the episode ends with him accepting, and of course, like, oh, it's like, okay, yeah, and that's the episode. They also have this weird ending song where it's basically Harane basically just singing about her boyfriend, who happens to be also her daughter's boyfriend as well. The whole song is about that. Yes, seriously. But really interesting episode. Excuse me. We have roughly one more to go. And that'll be it. Yeah. And surprisingly, this particular interview series, when it ends for the season, is not going to end on an odd number. Because if it had been for an adult feature, it probably would have ended on an odd number. It probably would have. Maybe. But yeah, that's particular view. So tomorrow, expect to see reviews for, well, Case Closed, because didn't have time to tonight. And The Strongest Aristocrat Gets Reincarnated in Another World. Yes, see more of that. And maybe a comic corner. Maybe. Okay? Next view. Bye.